I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. As a quiet extension of what I'm sharing here, you may have heard me speak about the architecture series. These books are now available for those who feel ready to go deeper. The architecture of light, the architecture of future medicine, the architecture of the living ethos, the architecture of peace. Each book explores a different aspect of how life organizes itself when survival patterns are no longer in control, and a new architecture begins to emerge. If you feel resonance, you can find them on Lulu and on my websites, divinedesign.it and on peggydivine.com. Namaste. Welcome, Colin Whitby, back to Divine Design Podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a while since we've had one, but we did have a conversation with Kathleen, didn't we, about your books recently, which was great. That was good fun.
Yeah, and it was perfect lining up today. It has happened so much this morning for me. Yeah, I have. Because now I was again leaded into grace, the here and now and grace. And that has kind of been my leading star for over 10 years more. No, yeah. Anyhow, I woke up and the first thing I saw was tree swan. So tree swan, and then I had to, what is the symbolic of tree swans? And then it is triple grace. And I thought, what? Triple grace? What does that mean? And it was like talking to me, Trinity of grace, purity, transformation, sacred feminine and divine union, and message of stillness and reflection. So it was like, wow. So I was outside for 2.5 hours this morning, and because normally I am in kind of a masculine, not a masculine, but I'm doing a lot. So doing is kind of masculine. So I have done a lot, and I just finished the 6th architect book, the sisterhood book, but this morning it was kind of the guiding just to be.
Yeah.
Be. So it's kind of in the here and now, be. And you said the same.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it does seem to be that the rather than striving for, looking for the next thing, you know. I was saying earlier, it's like the recipe's cooked now. We're nicely finished off. Whatever it is that we needed to do, we've done, and now we're being guided to watch out for the next thing rather than strive to create it. That seems to be more a natural flow for us in this place, and the embodiment. Because a lot of the conversations, but particularly between you and I, and and some of our friends, are around how do we embody more of this? There's more coming. There's more coming, and it's it's like, oh yeah, I'll let that in. Yep, okay, let's. I say yes to that, and it seems to be that there's a we've reached a point where we might like to acknowledge that if we've done that bit of us arriving. Yeah, tick that box
Yep.
because now we're here.
Yep.
And now the way that stuff happens, if you like, changes. It changes from seeking, it's almost like all that was cause and effect. I read the book, it stimulates something. I then are prompted to, look into it, feel it.
Yep.
That's changing to I am it.
Yep.
It's working through me,
Yep.
and it works in a different way. Something has significantly changed in just the last week, maybe, or it just feels different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Really. It's like, yeah, it is even deeper embodiment. And one of the words, grace came today, but what came 5 days ago was blessing. You are living in blessings. Everything is blessed around you. And that's not a word that I have used so much. So maybe a lot of people think, okay, that's a normal word. But for me, I haven't used the word. So, but I woke up uh, a morning and then I was kind of, you are blessed. Everything around you are blessed. You are emanating blessings. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? So I went into just blessing and tried to understand, because it is not a word that we use often in Norway, or but the Norwegian word for blessing is velsignelse. And that is a religious word. So it kind of, when we heard velsignelse, it's kind of, okay, that's belongs to the church. But so the actual word that came to velsignelse, everything around you is velsignelse, blessings. It's kind of, okay, so see everything, your food, friendship, everyone you meet, you are emanating velsignelse. So, okay. And it is a part, as you say, we are the holder, because the sisterhood, it is the architecture of a new civilization. And in this book, maybe 100, maybe 200 times, I say what we are going against is to become feminine holders. And feminine holders is not that it is female, it is that it is the womb, the creational super, everything can start. It is kind of the 0 point. So I talk about we are going towards Mat, the Egyptian label Mat, divine order.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the book is a lot about Mat, kind of the divine order. How do we go back to what we did in earlier civilizations? Because were we have lived as Mat, divine order, being in alignment, and that's what you say. So the only thing there is to do is just to hold this space, because a lot of people, this is what they are seeking, to come in this coherence. Is also a word of it, that coherence with all your aspect. So yeah, it is. Yeah, and also the swan this morning, kind of. Oh wow, I hadn't got into the symbolic of swan, that triple grace, and a lot of other things came. So it is fascinating just to listen, because that's also what I say. Listen, the surroundings is speaking to us all the time.
Mm, yeah. It's there's this I can still feel something new. Like I just said, we're complete. But there's an interesting that's interesting, isn't it? Because now I'm complete, I can still feel something wanting to happen. But I'm thinking it's maybe because we've established ourselves as these you know, portals, if you like,
Yeah,
the receptacles, crucibles, whatever, whatever what the word, but we're kind of holding the opportunity for something to create through us, which is, I think, what you're describing. And it's interesting that I did describe that because I used to. I think I used the term creation. Um, It's creation, I used the word her anyway. I described the sense I was getting of creation as a she.
yeah,
And yeah, I can feel that now, that the relevance of that, like you're saying, is that this is it's a mother kind of, it's the womb. It's that kind of sense of the energy that you're facilitating that flowing in easily and effortlessly into the world. And maybe that's what switched. Maybe that's why I'm thinking, oh yeah, well, I'm there with that now.
yeah,
Now we can let that come through. And the place it's coming through from, it's simultaneously way out there, like the newest of new, that where we're from hasn't yet materialized on Earth yet. We're the thing that's creating the potential for that to happen.
yeah,
And we haven't. Oh, whilst we've had lots of lives on this planet, we've never brought that aspect of ourselves through before. I get the sense of that. I really think this is a new thing that we're creating together.
yeah,
And so that part does appear to be quite a long way off. But it's simultaneously here in me anyway. I'm feeling
Yeah.
it. I'm feeling it right here, and it hasn't got any blocks now. We've done the work on the heart, all the little strangulations or bits and pieces that were blocking. We felt blocking.
Yeah.
They've been work that we've done that work now, and that's now our hearts are wide open, and this new is coming through. And it's a bit like you say, you notice things occurring that oh yeah, look, um, it's simple things too sometimes. I mean, I just looking at how bright the flowers are this year and how many there are, it's
Yeah.
sort of oh. And had I not noticed that before, or have the flowers, are there more flowers? And I think we was talking to some friends about that, and I think it's both, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's happening. Everything's happening at once,
Yeah.
and we're in the middle of that, and just recognizing, look, oh
Yeah.
yeah, look, creation's brightening up. That's lovely.
Yeah, and when you mention love flowers and more of them, what I put into the same, it was like something has happened with my hearing. So I hear much more. I hear under 20 hertz and above, what we call intra and ultra sound, kind of. So I have had a lot of ache in my, particularly in my my left ear. And it was like, okay, what is this? Because it was so intense for a period. And I asked, what is this? Well, your hearing is expanding. That's why the intensity is. And when I am out in nature, I hear so many sounds. And I have started to listen to the birds because I can hear 20, 30, 40 different sounds from the bird. And I thought, is it that many birds? No, it's not that many birds, but I hear the difference in all their tones. Also, wow! And I have never gone into that before. So that is one aspect of money. But I hear, even though my hearing has been good, it has improved even more. So what I have done since I was little, I have something in my ear when I fell asleep because my ear is so I hear everything. So it is a gift, but it can also be a curse because you hear so much. It's kind of all the time. But so now I hear even more. But being in this surroundings, it is amazing hearing because it is nature talking. Here it is an energy field that is kind of wow. So yeah, things are expanding. And when I talk about this feminine holding, when I have written the book about the future, the teachers, kindergarten and all teacher has to become feminine holders because this is what children need. Because then they go into their knowledge, their soul, and what they are coming with. So all the school system, what they require of us who work as teachers, it is that we live as the field we are talking about, the feminine holder, because this is not to lecture them with a lot of old thing knowledge because it is outdated. But if we as teachers hold the space for children, wow, then we will see the radical shift. And it is coming because more and more of us teacher will know. The new teacher already someone are there. So it is amazing. We are going against a feminine holder communities. Creating math on Mother Earth. And not one leader because we have gone from triangle hierarchy and now we are in a circle. Back to the circle. It is kind of color because one color isn't better than another color. They kind of we use all the spectrum of colors. So it is from hierarchy to a circle where everything is included and we complement each other like we do.
Mm, yeah. It's often how these things work. There seems to be certain things that want to happen, but they can only happen when more than one person is working with it. Like there's some sort of balance,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean that that's your job necessarily. Because I've actually found myself working in the center of the earth when somebody else is flying around, you know, bringing in new light beams from all over the universe. And then another time, I'll be the person out, collecting all that, and somebody else will be standing on the earth. It seems to be whatever needs to happen in the moment,
Yes.
your role will be shown to you.
Yeah.
It's so we're even being asked to detach from the traditional role idea that we've, I get very excited about construction, and I get very excited about beams and frequencies and all that sort of thing. But the other day I was and again one of our conversation calls where I found myself actually at the center of the earth, just holding a crystal, not going anywhere, not doing anything, but just stabilizing and radiating this energy into the crystalline structure of the earth. And apparently I can still feel I'm still there. So that's another role, if you like, that this part of me is conscious of doing. But it doesn't mean that's all I am. There's so many other aspects that seem to be active, depending on who I'm talking to. So yeah, I mean, because we got quite into the Egyptian thing when I said, oh, I got a connection with Thoth, and I do, I'm one of the original alchemists, and it's like, yeah,
And actually, the sister book, the architecture of the new civilization, it is a lot about Egypt and the principle of, yeah, a lot of the principle they had, and also Atlantic, because it is, and also the header, the seven headers, the seven mothers are aspects that are in the holder. So this book has 33 chapters, and I'm amazed myself. And you have read four of the books, actually, yes, because two, no, maybe five.
five, yeah,
Five, you have read five. So
So
yeah,
yeah, we
because
did the three, and then we did peace, and now we've just done karma.
yeah, and now this I have only written it in Norway, Norwegian, so it's just finished, and it is a completely new structure from the other one. So I'm amazed that also because the first three they had the same structure. Then the peace came and then had another structure. And then the karma came and then had another structure. And then this one, another structure. And I'm amazed. And this one is, it has, every chapter have two parts. And one of them is how practical life. Because we can talk about divinity, all this amazing thing. But a lot of people is, well, I want to see it in my life. I want to have it practical. So every chapter is one kind of, not neutral because it is the topic, but then how to apply it in practical life, or how I have, because I use myself and my sister. So it is easier because sometimes it can be too intellectual.
Yeah.
So how can we include even more? How does it look like in the practical life? So, and I didn't, and I have seen my sisterhood, my sister cousin Ilosa, in a new perspective. We knew that what we had a soul contract that was wow, because we have experienced a lot of miracles, and both of us are doing the same as me and you. Also, we are holding the mat, the divine order, just being us.
Yeah.
So it is fascinating that wow, that it happened. So when I went through her life and my life, she was the one when I was fragmented. What I was a wounded healer. She holded the space for me. And when I had come in balance and she went to turbulence, then I hold it. And I said, wow. So I saw it even in a bigger picture, kind of perspective, because this is kind of how we will do it in the future because she has worked in the kindergarten for more than 20 years with children from 0 to 6 years. She have holded the space for them, the same as I have done for adult, teenager and adult. So she has had the young one and I the adult one. So, and I was fascinating when I took this meta perspective, even though we have spoken about it. When you write it and it's kind of black on white, it's like, wow, a new realization. So we have kind of in us, it is a soul purpose, and we do it even though we don't know that we are doing it. just aligning to the what is correct, as you said, just the here and now, every time in the here and now.
It's, it's interesting you mentioned three things, and these other aspects of landing, this practical landing. And I read a piece recently on the internet, and it's a Warrior Sage Dojo. So I don't think I've never heard of that before. But the what his essence of what he was saying was there's always something in a lot of spiritual practice. There's things missing that need to be balanced. And his three were mastery, which is the master is unglamorous, humbling, never finishing, cultivating, of being a better human in actual relationship. That's it. I mean, this is his definitions, but you can have high mastery and still be empty. So you can be proficient at this, but not have the balance that brings you the fullness of. And then this is the second one was aliveness. Aliveness is the art that makes your essence. And he goes in to describe how people with this as their only thing, it burns bright in them, but they're just art. They've just it just burns them because they've nothing else going on to balance that out.
Yeah.
That energy of creation needs a balance.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. And then awakening. And this was the one, the recognition that you're already complete. And that's what I was thinking. There we are. Look, it's those three together
Yeah.
that he's putting forward is how that all comes. So we don't just fly around and do the spiritual floaty stuff. We actually have to bring it into, balance within the the construct of being a human.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I thought it was quite fascinating that again that was three strands that he was describing, and I think it summed up some of the things that you can have what he was saying was he's seen people have these wonderful experiences where they've got this download of oh wow, this is divine,
Yeah.
and then they've gone off and lived their lives exactly the same as they were before, because actually that on its own doesn't make the whole.
Yes.
And so that kind of speaks to what you just said but in a slightly different language, if you like. But it does seem to be a thing now is that it's bringing the whole together and living this, not just talking about it, but living it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I went into a ceremony. Yeah, we had a ceremony the 20th of April, me and several women. And also, I prepared this ceremony, even though there were a lot of agenda. All of us had different agenda. My agenda was kind of to put energy on my future because I had a ceremony 2 weeks before that, and then a lot of came in. And one of I call it new spiral, kind of, I go into new spiral experiencing. And now, because now it's 2 months, it is May, June, I have 2 months, and then I'm guided to embody even more grace. So be and just hold grace, because 1st of July, I will go into child protective service, and it is even more crazy than before. I don't know how long I will be, but maybe 6 months, maybe a year. I have worked there before, and I know that it's more and more intense. And what is needed is someone that holds the space. So I have been in this system before, and it's very draining because it is so heavy energies. I know that now we are in a period that everything is intensified. And then what is needed is this holding. So that was, I only need to be grace. Only emanate grace. That was kind of my guiding. So just fill yourself with grace, hold grace, and yes, like I have seen, thing will come up, and people are afraid. Everything comes up. It is ugly. It is crying. It is everything comes up, but it needs to come up because we are holding the grace, or this feminine holding. It is balancing it out. So it is the balancing we are seeking, kind of, so that we can create new earth, homo luminous, as I call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? We find ourselves in places. I mean, I'm because of my wife's particular illness, I find myself wandering down the corridors of a hospital at least once a week.
Yeah.
Um, and it's it's like so the place we go to is the farthest we can get to from the car park. You have to walk through the whole hospital, miles of corridors, sort of thing. It seems like, and it's almost like I'm there. That like you just described, I'm there as some sort of portal of let's call it grace. So
Yeah.
that that exists in that place for a while. So
Yeah.
that it's that somebody is carrying that, and I won't be the only person doing that by
No,
any
we are
stretch.
several, but anyhow, but it's not all that are conscious of it, because there are several. But yeah, and I also, because I asked why do people experience miracle healing, kind of being so much in pain and just all the pain is taken away from them, and it will show me as grace. It is grace. So carrying it grace, all miracle, but sometimes also because sometimes it is like it looks like people don't get the result, but they also must open. So it is just not only us, because it is there all the time. It is kind of free energy, free grace, but we are closed up. So it is also an evolution in ourselves. So we must open up to grace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I get that because uh, given a loved one is so in pain or in such a distressing situation, you really want to be able to just
Yeah,
change it.
yeah.
But there's got to be a recept, some that person's got to be in that same place to receive it, in whatever ways right for them. And I've moved from the trying to heal or the Mr. Fixer to again being in this place
Yeah.
of grace. I love that. I love the word grace. I think that describes it really well. It you're not trying to do anything.
You're just being. Yeah.
You're just being.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's a
And that is the shift. That is the shift. Because we have wanted to do. I will fix you. I will fix you. I'm not fixing anyone. I'm just being me, holding grace. And so we are the being. It is math is divine order, and that's the being part. When everything is in coherence, we just know where to go, what to do, or not to do in the way we have thought about doing. We are just kind of following a divine flow, like a ant. Like an ant, you know, ants, they are doing their things. They have a queen kind of that are sending a signal, but all the ants know just what to do. Nature, if you look in nature, they know what to do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They're not looking over plans to see, where stuff is. They just go off and do it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's astonishing all that.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, even just here, just watching the birds, because it's spring now and the birds are mating, and then they get their nest material and they off they go and start building their nests all over the place. I notice this more because we're trying to get contractors to do the roofs here, and as soon as the birds lay their nests, we can't touch the roofs because they're protected. So it's like, oh no, they're building their nest. But it's just forced me to look and observe it more, and you think the sort of like the miracle of just that simple thing of them knowing that's what they need to do next. What I do now is I go off and build a nest. And there's no instructions, there's no sort of how to build a nest on internet for them, on YouTube. So they just know, don't they? It's and that I think is how we're being guided is to be in that flow of knowing, and we don't have to search for what's happening next. It'll happen because we're in this place, and it'll happen in a magical way. I'm absolutely certain of that.
Yeah, but when you mention that, I want to mention a phenomenon that we have seen, because summer or spring came to the northern Norway 2 months earlier than normal. So we have had in April we had much sun. It was like this is not normal in April, and also in even in Mars. So in southern part of Norway this is normal, but not northern part. And the birds they have made eggs 2 months too early. And then we had almost a month with sun, and it's kind of, I was out in the sun, and it's like, this is not normal. But we just took it in, kind of. But then the snow come back. So now it is snow also outside. So it's kind of, and the babies are coming for these birds, and it is actually too early. So it is strange phenomenon, and I see it in the time because several that I know in Tromvika and other places, it is kind of chaos. It is so much chaos around. So even the nature is kind of almost in chaos. It's not in the normal rhythm. It is kind of disturbing. It is something disturbing so that someone else can come. Even we can, if we study the animals, we can see difference in them. So I don't know what will come out of it, this and all, but it is here in northern Norway. It is very, because the season is like, now we have, I think we have 2 hours dark. It is light until 1 o'clock in the night to 3. So it's only 2 hours that we have dark. So we are almost at the time where it is sun 24/7. So we have been in a dark period, and now we are going against the period where it is. So the seasons in northern Norway, it is amazing. I love it. But also now it is a change in animals and in nature, and that is fascinating. What does that mean? It means that everything is in kind of, yeah, it is disturbing, something disturbing. I don't see it as a good sign that it comes 2 months too early, because this is not the normal. But I also see all the chaos for something good, because all the old is kind of transforming.
Yeah, yeah. It does seem to be happening quite randomly. You look outside and there's something different going on. Because in the UK, you probably got the same thing in Norway, but we've got these little rhymes that, April showers, May, they've got, it's been so consistent over the years that the rhyme works. It's, there's a Yorkshire one there, cast a clout till May is out, which means don't start taking your clothes off too early because you're going to get cold. And funnily enough, yes, I mean, 2 days ago, it was so hot. I was thinking, wow, I've got too much on. So I'm thinking, well, too many layers. And it's hot. And then yesterday I went out for a walk with a friend on the hills, completely the opposite. We were searching around our cars for an extra layer. You're thinking, well, what's going on here? Uh, yeah, completely changed
Yeah.
one day from the next.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, is that normal? It's,
No, it's not. So thing is happening, and we are kind of privileged in northern Norway, because now also, because for a several years, many years, it has come, everyone wants to go to Spain and area where it is hot. But now the hot area is so hot, so they are going, oh, it's too hot, so they get sick of this. So now actually what has happened, a lot of the tourists in Spain and southern Europe comes to Norway because it is kind of more stable. So
Yes.
even that has changed. So we have so many tourists. We have, it's kind of bad to put it like that, but in Tromsø we are talking about the tourist problem, because there are so many, and we actually hold back. I heard that they said we hold back 90% of the tourists that wants to come, so only 10% that wants are allowed. So it is kind of become the peak to come to Tromsø.
All right.
So this is kind of what? So, and that also the situation in Tromsø for houses and renting apartment is crazy, because almost a lot of them want to use Airbnb because they got so much income, because it has been so popular, so they can get many thousands. So has been a peak in Tromsø, and particularly China and Asian people, but also other, but more Asian.
yeah. Well, it's where the they're now in a more affluent society themselves, so they can start doing what Europeans have been doing for many years.
Yeah.
They're going to see the world, and good luck to them, I think. It's funny because the we just down the road we've got a castle built by the Normans when they invaded the UK, or whatever it was called in those days. And yeah, there's this lovely big castle, and the coaches used to come in and park in the car park there, full of American tourists. For years and years, it was Americans everywhere. And then 9/11 happened, and they just stopped traveling. They stopped coming completely. And now it's like, coach loads of Chinese or like you say, Asian, because they're the guys who've got the time and the money now to do the traveling. But yeah, it was quite a change to see these different kinds of people wandering around. Um, uh, it's just observing how things change over time. And I always look at, like we've got a lot of French in our language, and that's because of the Norman invasion and stuff way back. But there's a lot of these people saying England for England for the English. And you think, well, where are you going to draw the line? Which bit of the English bit? Is it the Saxons? Is it the Normans? Is it the Vikings? The Romans, maybe? Which bit of us
Yeah.
are you pointing to when you're saying, because we're such a, over the years, people have traveled and invaded and whatever they've done. We're just we're humans on a planet. That's all it is.
Yeah, that's it. And also you are into a point that is significant because in the future we will not think about the country the way we do to now, because now it's kind of we have to have border and we protect. We will see it completely different. We will co-create and we will help each other because we know each area holds a different gift. So it kind of when we are born, we just know where we want to live because we will have total complete other structure in society that now, because now we have the structure of defense. We see that the military and all the defense is building up, and that is kind of heard it in the news, and this is kind of the most important. So it is intensing so that no, that we don't need to defend anymore. So it is actually an outer reflection of our inner fears. Defending.
Yeah.
So all our fears, all our shadows come up in all this defending. So
Yeah.
it's kind of everything is mirrored to us big time. And Donald Trump is amazing because he really mirrors the shadow of United States.
He's doing a good job of that,
He
certainly.
really don't do a good job. And also in the Middle East, and yeah, everything is, if you see go into the country, and also Hungary, what just happened, now they have a switch in the prime minister, so it is fascinating everything that is happening.
Yeah, yeah. It's all for a purpose, and it's not the thing that you're seeing on the news. It's something way deeper going on. That's for sure.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually need to learn how to perceive differently, because if we only go to mainstream media, they put it the way they want it.
Mm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though I watch mainstream media, I know that it is what their agenda.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you know it, you can listen to it. So I don't go into it as the only fact.
sure. Yeah. Well, it's interesting, because I've got people that live around me have got very different points of view to me, and they're quite happy to quote from their newspaper, so whichever one they read. And it's interesting that for years and years and years, we've known that, the Daily Mirror, the Guardian, or they're left wing, Sun, a number of others, they're right wing, and we're happy that they're biased because they're reflecting back to us what that's our opinion, and that's the good one. That's a load of rubbish. Uh,
Yep.
but they're both reflecting a point of view,
Yep.
and we're happy for them to stand side by side on the newsstand. with those different reflections.
Yeah.
And but we can have a hearty argument about each other's opinions, but it's interesting that they can coexist on like that
Yeah.
with those different points of view, each of them saying that they have the truth.
Yeah.
It's, this is the way it should be.
Yeah.
We should, we should nationalize everything, everything should be in public ownership, whatever the doctrine is, and
Yeah.
it's fun that people can get so emotive about that opinion that they've got. That what would it take to relinquish that opinion to move to something that's more amenable, something that where everyone gets along, given that they're all different, but they actually find a way of getting along. They
Yeah.
find a way of living together on the same planet. All that stuff that was coming back from the people who've just been to the moon. Like, oh, look, it's just one planet. We're all just living on a single. We're all in that planet, sort of
Yeah.
thing. You're thinking,
Yeah.
oh, right, you've just noticed. Yeah, and we've divided it up, and you can't cross that line without these papers or this digital blueprint or whatever it is that they're giving us now. It's sort of like, yeah, that's just irrelevant when, I mean, later on we'll be moving ourselves. I mean, I'm convinced I'm going to be able to do this in this lifetime, just to move to one place from one place to another without actually traveling, but literally just shifting.
Yeah.
So when you can do that, all of the borders just fade away, don't they?
Yeah.
It's just irrelevant,
Yeah.
totally irrelevant. So I mean, that'll be fun when we can do that.
Yeah. And when you talk about, I don't know why, but what has come to me the last day is Krishna consciousness, and that was also totally new. So it has come so many new grace, and no, grace wasn't new, but Krishna consciousness. I haven't gone into that, and that is actually the same as Christ consciousness. So someone called it the Krishna consciousness, and it was a big wave. Was it 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago? And that really expanded, and it made a foundation that more and more people are into this, and this is unity.
Yeah.
So we have the foundation, even though we see a lot of disturbance, a lot of people are holders. They have already embodied the Christ consciousness, the Krishna consciousness, or whatever we call it, so that all this could happen. Because if, yeah, yeah, no, it's kind of realizing when I talk about it, because yes, so we are now so many that hold this, that all this crazy thing can happen because we are holders, so everything can come up. So that was kind of wow. I had a realization. I didn't see it like that. Actually, that movement made the foundation so that everything could come up. They are field holders, like you and me. So there are thousands, millions probably of field holders that holds this, and that's why this shaking time is happening. We see war and we see all this because now it comes up to transform for good.
Yeah.
We have passed the whipping point, the shifting point.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So the Krishna movement actually led up to that. Wow.
It's interesting, isn't it? All of that, because you're kind of aware of it, and certainly we've been reading lots of people's points of view about it. Particularly some of the people who do the astrology and or maybe they're channeling points of view, and they're all coming to the same conclusion, or at least their guidance is that this is a very pivotal okay, pivotal moment in history. This is where this tipping point. This is it.
Yep.
And what it feels like, and perhaps that's why we came just to talk about it today, was to to say that actually we believe that it's just gone. We've just gone past it.
Yep.
We're actually in a new way of
Yep.
your grace, or just a new way of presenting ourselves,
Yep.
and that actually is the catalyst for the change.
Yeah.
And now it's you sort of almost like thrown the on switch. The big lever has been pulled, and okay, now ready, we're running.
Yeah. running. Yeah, actually running.
We've switched it on.
Yeah, because it goes so fast. That's what I say, running. And the technology is, if we use it, if you have the proper relationship. I also have a chapter in the sister book about the future and technology. If we have the right relationship to technology, then it's no problem, because a lot of people are afraid, and it is, we are supposed to be afraid, because we people will start wars, want to use it as weapon. So the most important is that we come in right relationship with technology, that we know that we are we are consciousness, we are the biggest force. So and when we use it as an extension of ourselves, and not to destroy the foundation of life on earth, because someone wants to use it like that, and it will be, technology will be used, and we already see it. So but what is most important in this period, it is to come in right relationship with technology,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and we've
like
kind of
we are doing now. Yeah.
we've talked about it as you know, having looked into the future of and you know, felt ourselves in those situations of actually being at one with our technology. It's not even, you know, you're not even questioning our relationship with it. It's sentient, it's intelligent, and you work with it. You know, you work together
Yeah.
And to, you know, to a purpose. And it could be that it's a ship. It could be you and you could sit down and you merge into it as you know, and you say, okay, let's go to so and so. And
Yep.
it knows the way there. It knows how to get there. You don't need to know anything about how it works, but it understands what you want, and you're there.
Yep.
And I get that. I get that we've achieved that. In the future, we achieve that.
Yep.
We have already done it, kind of thing. And what we do, because we are timeless ourselves, is
Yep.
we pull that in
Yep.
to the current, that there's knowledge piling in now, and scientists are waking up. You
Yep.
know, it's interesting that, you know, I was having conversations last night, and it appears that what we do, we facilitate the arrival of this, and then when a scientist or another is ready for that insight, they'll they'll hook it in. It's there.
Yep.
We've brought it in, but we don't necessarily know that's what we've done. We're just facilitators of this, the new. And then somebody will pick that idea and go, wow, yeah. But there might be somebody over here that picks it up as well.
Yep.
And it's not, the idea isn't owned by anyone,
No.
but they can do what they do with it.
Yep.
And I think that explains a lot in the past where people have been working on the same thing, but at different parts of the, you know, different scientific communities. And they say, hang on, that's not my idea.
It's like the hungry monkey effect, because it is in the field, everyone can take it.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And it's now, it is even easier to pick it, because more and more have raised their level. So it is more, and people are more attuned, so we hear it
Yeah.
and act on
I think
it.
that,
Yeah, and so people are writing about it in their own way,
Yep.
but it's the same thing that is coming through,
Yep.
and each individual will pick up their piece of it in the way that suits them, because there'll be somebody writing about it really technically, or there'll be somebody writing about it in a almost like poetry, and then, you know, but it'll land
Yep.
exactly right for the person reading it,
Mm.
which is sometimes why I have to put a book down and stop, because suddenly I'm not in tune with what it is, and you know, and I know I'll probably come back to it, but at that moment, I wasn't, you know, ready for the whatever the next bit is, you
Uh-huh.
know. And I've got that far with one of the books I'm reading now. It's like, yeah, I was so thinking, "Oh, I really must get the, you know, oh, this is fabulous, I love this," and then doing. And I've stopped and I've put it down. I think, okay, well, I'll get back to that, because I think the timing's appropriate as well. You know, the message, you may be hungry for that message, but if the time is not right, you may not, that may not be for you just yet.
That
Just go with the flow, really, isn't it? At the end.
yeah, and that's the divine order. It kind of, and the math is like timing. Timing is an aspect, and I also have. I tried for, I think it's 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I tried because I saw the future. I knew what was coming, and I tried to force the timing because I hadn't understand the timing bit of it. So I was presented to a lot of things happening, and I didn't understand the timing. So I tried to kind of activate it already, and I created chaos in my own life. And I didn't. What? I was shown this. Wow. So, but yeah. So I wasn't mature enough. So I was in the beginning, and it was like, but I learned a lot through that. So the timing aspect, as we call divine timing, we have kind of a soul contract that we're supposed to go through and do a lot of things. But the timing. So, like I have said, now the timing is that I will go back to work in Child Protective Service. And I said in 2020, I will come back and work in this service. And now is the time. 5 years later, 6 years later.
Yeah, 6 years. Yeah, yeah. But there seems to be a cycle of, I keep looking back and thinking, oh, that was 6 years. And there's lots of things that happened, and I think, particularly during the 19 and 20, that where the COVID thing was occurring and all that was unfolding. I think those were turning points as well, because I think people's attitudes and behaviors changed, and there was a lot of movement after that.
Yeah.
I think in opinions and beliefs, lots of things changed, and I think I'm sensing another one of those. It could be simply the response to external activities again, like we've discussed, the wars that are being created in places. It could be literally that people are looking at those now and going, I don't want any more of this. It could literally be the mass just uh, looking and thinking, and we had enough of this. Isn't that, I don't know. I'm just putting it out there, but I sense there's something really, really significant behind it.
Yep.
It's not the thing itself, but there's something moving behind it that's like we were discussing. We're holding this space for it to come through now.
Yeah.
And it's more significant than we can possibly put words to.
Yeah. And we will understand it in the future looking back, because that is kind of, then we can connect the dots. Then we understand it in a bigger picture.
Yeah, yeah, I get that. Yeah, definitely. Because as soon as you try and articulate it, you sort of, and it comes back to that what we were talking about at the beginning is just be, just open and be,
Yeah.
And kind of acknowledge that we've done that work and we are open and we are that, with the facilitators of this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just got the words, stop trying too hard. I mean, that's me. I'm always trying. Yeah, yeah,
It's almost the same as I got. It's like you don't need to do so much. You just need to be. And my purpose is not to do all this thing. My purpose is to be.
Yeah.
And it's so deep in me just to do. But you are not here to do. You are here to hold. You are here to be. It's like, okay. And that's the feminine. So I'm here to be, not actually be a doer. Even though I have done. I like creating. I think all of us, when we are in essence, we like to create. But now is a time to be, to come in coherence.
yeah. Mind you, so says the lady who's just written 6 books.
Yeah, and that was also okay. I have done a lot, but now I got actually, yeah. Now when I just finished the last one, it's like now be, now just be, because now for 2 months be, because then you're going into the system. So now is just to kind of. Yeah, because I have done a lot of things, kind of the masculine way, but now it is come into the beingness even more.
Mm-hmm. Fabulous.
Wow, Colin, I love this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, we just never know what we're going to talk about, but we finished where we started, which was just be.
Just be. Yeah, the circle is complete.
Yeah.
Just be. Wow.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. From the divine in us to the divine in you.